Hello everyone guys and welcome to today's edition of Watch Party. It is Formula Challenge time and that stream is already live. So here we are coming up
and it's
on
all,
the race.
with
As you can see,
as well,
qualifying is about to start hashtag soon.
Races, so you need
so
to
they're currently talking about challenges and splits and the way to get into Formula Pro right now. On the commentary booth tonight, FSR President Cameron Roger and I think even though Larry
and we're figuring out who's
going
to be in that top two.
So we're going to listen to the guys a little bit, of course, and other than that, of course, we're going to do exactly what is the name of this stream. It's going to be a watch challenge,
it's certainly a good way we've got
watch
things
party.
Here at the Formula
we're gonna chill out a bit, like, you know, we've done 4 hours of sim racing, 4 hours of driving basically, with a little bit of a break in between. But now we look how other people are driving tonight, and of course, always guys, give some feedback on the sounds, on the audio, that we can have a very nice
the top 26
audio together.
Are going to be taken through into this
anyway,
race, somebody from
we
the
are
top
jumping
26
into
missing, and then people get bumped up, blah blah blah. So it's a little bit complicated,
race
but
tonight.
I'm sure it's easier in reality than it is for me to explain it. But here are your standings anyway. Noah Rovers winning, but the one big takeaway from this is that it's really close. That partly due to the point system, it's kind of kept things nice and close for us, but also the fact that the season's been a bit unpredictable, as you mentioned earlier, Cam.
Yeah, it certainly has, and with the way the point system works, once it gets down past third position, there's only 1 point per driver. So effectively, each position is worth a point, and therefore, if someone's 5 points ahead of you, you basically need to beat them by 5 positions at some point. And with it being just those 3 points at the top of the table, literally anything could happen with still 4 races left to go before we get towards the end of the season. So it's going to remain nice and tight. And unfortunately, for instance, like Colin Sporky had a bit of a bad race last time out. Ibrahim Khan as well, suffering. So he's going to have to do a lot of work to get himself further up the grid. But the way it does work is it allows certain people to come up. So Aidan Millward there, he was up in
Mitchie's going to raise his voice a bit.
Two, and having a good race back in Spa has meant he's actually up into split 1 now. So he got a 10th position last time in Silverstone, and he's once again up in the top split. So let's see what he can do. So hopefully we're going to get a nice close battle towards the end of the season. And as you can see there,
Hello, Papa
only
Jimmy.
really 15 points for top 7 or so.
Not
so
sure,
really,
is it?
all to play for.
Last time
Yeah,
doing the Watch Party GT challenge was
all
alright,
but
let's see.
Really.
You can set us
in
strike
7th place, Lauren
on the
Kizamakis is only 12 points behind.
Anyway, into the qualifying
top 2,
we jump.
Important top 2 positions, so yeah, very, very close indeed. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing
12.5 minutes to go, a few times already
it's
set.
been fantastic so far this season.
Khan with a 27.3.
Cleaner racing, maybe a few less crashes would be nice, but obviously the high pressure situations and not many places to overtake, you do kind of expect these kind of things to go wrong from time to time, but rFactor has been sky high so far this season.
Not sure, is my stream laggy or is it the actual
stepping into
broadcast?
qualifying right now, just over 12 minutes left, and not really too much happening.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So far. We've got
Also enjoy.
time starting to come in.
I hope you see
Ibrahim
good,
Khan
safe
back to where
racing.
We're used to seeing him in the top spot there with a 27.3.
Yeah, he's certainly the pick for pole position, already 3/10 faster than his Zancho teammate of Schumvliet there. I would expect that those two are pretty likely
them a
to
bit
get themselves
lower.
on the front row
There we
of
go.
the grid, but we'll have to see how it works out. We can definitely expect times to get into the 1-minute 26s. However, the grip is a little bit less here than what it was for the Formula Pro guys.
It's
which
an
does
interesting
exaggerate
grid
the
though.
series
Still,
just
like
a
the
little
top
bit, but
10
still
are
a low,
very, very
27,
good drivers
still a
indeed.
fairly respectable time, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these times come in fairly shortly. It's just because, as we said, when you're limited on the lap counts.
Thank you so much, Booth. Much
Because
appreciating your words.
the grip is increasing once all of the cars start to go out.
Yeah, and just for reference, by the way, in the race, we're probably going to be seeing high 27s and low 28s, or a little bit, as you mentioned.
Guys, is the stream better on
because of
on
because
Twitch?
of the
Like,
rubber and whatever.
I don't mean if we see cars driving there. There we go. But
so yeah, that's about where we're expecting to see
it's the
them
picture
in the
fluid
race. But
now.
for now, the qualifying session is going to be a little bit faster than that as Kizamakis gets into the very, very low 27s there, getting into first.
Yeah, I think it's all right now.
Edge, which is very,
Caresmakers with a 27.0. I'm very much interested. I think pole position is going to be a 0.7 or 0.8.
When I was looking at the standings earlier, I was a little bit surprised to see up there. Not that he's a bad driver or anything, no, Rovis, but I just didn't think he was going to be up there leading Formula Challenge after a couple of rounds. But he's having a fantastic season so far.
So let's see, Millwork with what? Wow, I mean, what are those times really? Like Blasco, 5.5 seconds off. Like, okay, he must have spun on his lap, but like, Jesus Christ, there is a few guys being quite a bit off the pace. I'm not sure if they're just going wide or like, but you know, the gaps between all those is
pretty fast in as well. But
interesting.
Let's see what Roberto Pignataro can do coming around the final corner. He's going to be a couple of seconds down as we get towards the end of the lap, and that's going to be P11 for him. But the times are seemingly quite spread out, actually. We have to wait for some of the fast guys to try and get those times in. We haven't seen
have they all forgot to take fuel out or what?
Zancho and Edge locking out that top 4 at the moment.
Yeah, both very impressive. We expect that from Zancho. They often lock out the grids that they are on, so that's not too much of a surprise without sounding Zancho biased. But yeah, it's certainly Edge up there is very impressive indeed. And Jim Paresis is.
So maybe we can have a look at the lap of Fabian here.
The 6th place in the championship right now, 14 teams up front, so he's got it all to play for. Certainly fighting for those top 2 spots. He's put in a good performance there to try and get up there. Try and spot some people who are in GT Challenge, because I noticed a couple when we were going through the standings there, seeing who's going to do the double. I don't
yes, exactly, Laurie. This is just the second tier.
Had Formula Challenge before, but
this is what I was running.
Make it through both series, both at the same time.
So let's have a look. I hope that they're gonna stay on board with him all the time.
It's a bit of a feat, really, but obviously these guys are very good at what they do and they can manage it.
Well, they certainly can. You're seeing this with a lot of the guys actually who do the GT Pro and Formula Pro, as Salagianis getting up into 9th place there for the independent entry. But you see a lot of these guys are doing GT Pro.
So David's still in the pits box, still no time, but already on track. Netrex, I'm gonna be interested to see what Netrex is doing.
Completely different driving styles, really. One Like, this is just so fast and so sort of twitchy and tricky to drive. Whereas
What
the
is
GT is obviously a lot more,
Barbukov doing?
everything sort of happens a little bit more slower.
Wow.
And a little bit more
And it's the
methodical as,
P11.
Barbukov goes
Like,
up there. So
I'm
it's good to
completely
see
mind
some drivers,
blown.
if they can,
If you do
master
half a
both cars,
second,
but it's certainly very difficult indeed.
okay,
Now,
I'll
Colin
like
Spork coming up to the
put
final
aside
chicane,
Team
and
Red
he's
Line,
only gonna
but
be about 4
if
tenths off the
P4
pole
or
position
P5
at the
guy
moment.
is doing a P.5
Yeah,
and
well,
doing
it's
half a
setting
second
in
off
good
that, you're
stead for the
dead
race,
last.
certainly on the first couple of rows. Very young driver
No,
from the
no
Netherlands.
further
To watch out for in the coming seasons. I think this
talking.
season for Formula Challenge might be a bit early for him to get into Formula Pro, but he's certainly going to mature over the next couple of years, and he's going to be.
Well, see what I mean, like Spork, if he would have been so far off KS Makers and Formula Pros, would have been P20. Here comes Bale. No spins whatsoever, but still it's P11. Anyway, now come the Formula Sim Racing runners. Very much interested.
What kind of form he's on today?
Now let's see, as he comes into turn number 1, keeping it in that second gear. And this car is certainly very tricky to drive, especially when you get towards the high parts. You see the car just twitching there through turn number 2 and coming
misses apex of 3.
Sort of elongated chicane that you're going to try and take it. You can see just how much he's having to work the wheel. Very
Carlos Martin in P6.
Interesting driving style that you have to do in this car, but he's taking a decent amount of speed. But
honestly, if David and Robin get their laps together, especially David, he could get on pole position really.
There's still a little bit of time for him, so there's no need to panic just for the moment. But he does need to get his rhythm certainly here. We know it's difficult to overtake around this circuit. Because there's a lot of medium speed corners where the dirty air is going to be a problem. It's going to be hard to follow, and there's not going to be many places to overtake other than into turn 1 really. So he's got to be a little bit careful and get his rhythm, as I said.
The cars look so understeery.
It looks fairly tidy to me, but clearly out front going a little bit faster right now, and he needs to be up there with these guys because the likes of Kuzumaker, Schoenfleet, Parisis especially, Carlos Martin is up there as well. These are guys he really can't afford to be losing points to. Even Ibrahim Khan at this point, this far out, he really can't afford to lose points to them. So let's see what he can do over the line.
Place nice position, but he's half a second off Kuzumaker, so that was a really good lap.
Robin is in P8 for the minute.
Too close to him.
Where is David? I hope really he gets a good lap in, because he can really be on top, and I mean on the very top. From the testing I saw. There we go. Let's have a look.
To get outside that top 10 or so, that's just a little bit lower down, but now we're going to see one of the potential top guys coming out for his first lap. Currently in 24th position, but he's yet to do a lap. David Mrocek of Burst Esport, he probably could have won last time out, but unfortunately he got a speeding penalty when taking a pit stop, so he had to come back in again to serve, I believe it was a stop-go penalty that he had.
Okay, 3/10 gone.
He's going to be just losing a bit of time with that one, but he's very close to pole position in that first sector.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well, and he's been driving quite well this year actually. I have in anything that he's been driving, he's really stepping up his game certainly in these recent months, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see him in Formula Pro with Burst Esport getting another team into there, so we'll wait and see if he can do that.
That's the plan.
At the moment.
6.5 tenths off. So currently I think he's looking for P7.
What he can do. But yes, certainly. Oh no! Just gets on the brakes a little bit too towards the rear, maybe you could say, and spins it around into Spain. That was looking like a good lap, and he's going to be disappointed that's gone down the drain.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be getting himself at least up into the inside the top 10, being a solid first lap there. And then he could have pushed a bit more on that second lap, but now he's only got 1 lap remaining. Loads of pressure for him, because we've already mentioned how it's not the easiest to overtake specifically on this track. So if he's going to be starting a bit further down, it's a lot to risk, especially if he wants to fight, as you say, to get into Formula Pro next season. So he really needs to nail it on this next lap. So let's see what is happening with Zampini coming through this final chicane. He actually takes that rather nicely, but unfortunately he's about 2.5 seconds down at the moment coming into this final corner. Let's see where he puts himself. He is improving though. Where can he get himself up to? He's going to be 21st place on a 1:30.1.
Yeah, quite spread out this field right now. It's a little bit surprising to see, really. compared to what we've seen in previous rounds and pre-qualifying.
Here
as well.
comes Carlos Martin into 7th again.
And not a great final sector, I'm afraid, so he's going to stay in 7th place, around about where you'd expect him, though. In terms of where his pace is.
Alexar rendering, nice. Gotta look forward.
So it's going to be one final lap for him as well. Only 3 minutes.
Alexa, stop.
A lot of yellow flags popping up on the left-hand side.
Alexar and Alexa sound so
letting others through
close.
And trying to find a little bit of track space. It's quite busy out there at the moment as they all set up to do their final lap times at exactly the same time as everyone else. So it is very, very busy.
Firstly, indeed, you see on the tower on the left-hand side, everyone in white is out on a lap, and certainly is Adam Rainey getting himself there up into 9th place. Indeed, 1 second off the pole.
Yeah, livery is good. I agree, Laurie.
2.5 minutes left, so potential for some guys to be able to get themselves inside that time. But let's
I don't know how to spell your name, really. Is it Cohen? Cohen? Maybe Cohen, right?
Where is he going to put himself? He's not going to improve, and he's going to stay there in 14th position.
I'm sorry to say, but David, you need to somehow get into, like,
impressive, but already
I know he can do a 0.30.
in the first sector. Purple right now. He's already a quarter of a second ahead of Ibrahim Khan. This might just be salt in the wound. He might not even need to do this, but he's just making sure of this pole position
Looks
in
good.
the final minutes.
Can he be the first man to get into the 126s? He's only getting really close.
Paris is going to improve from 6th to 4th. Purple in the final sector.
Up into 4th place, half a second off, but what can
They've done some good work, I
other
guess.
Esports do? The number 12 into the final corner. He's about matching his time already. Can he just sneak a 126 to pretty much confirm this pole position out of the final corner? What is it going to be? He is going to actually just miss out there by 40.
Yeah, but he confirms his lap time, which is a good effort.
Roivers,
10th and a half off in sector 1.
No, Roivers definitely seems to be improving right now, but it's going to have to be a big leap forward for him to overtake Ibrahim Khan here. So let's wait and see. But Paris is getting up into 4th is going to be a big sigh of relief for Roivers. I think he wouldn't have liked to overtake.
What is Robin doing?
Car because they would be helping each other, I guess, at this point. Paris would try and hold Roivers back as much as possible for his teammate, you'd imagine.
Raccoon. It's a coon. I'm just going to call you coon.
A little bit, but let's see.
Roivers, again, 1.5 tenths off in the middle sector, so 3 tenths overall. Not even a personal best in sector 2. But speaking about not even, this is so difficult. Get in there, David! P3! Javolo! Good job, man!
So easily in this final sector, but across the line, is he going to be able to improve?
Yes! Grande, David. I think only Spork to be a threat, and Schonfleet.
On the clock, he is going to stay in that 18th position as well. All of the top 5.
Here comes Khan. Oh, and he... No, close, but purple in sector 1 and 2. Robin, it's going to be improvement into P9. Looks good. Just where he needs to be. Just scores, get steady points, hopefully. So Spork and Schonfleet, that's going to be interesting. Where do they come around? There's Schonfleet. P4 behind David. Great, and Spork, that's just beating him. But that's not too much of an issue since Spork is a bit further down the order when you're looking into the championship.
Noah Roivers has been pushed down to 6th, the championship leader. So lots of permutations going on, lots of interesting positional changes.
I'm annoyed by this cable.
And Pignataro now round the final corner. He's going to stay in 22nd place. And also Mocek getting up to 4th there. So he managed to...
So race is coming up soon.
All that pressure came down to his second lap, but 4th place isn't too bad for him. He can still do something from there. And also Spork getting in that 3rd place was very important for him. But his Keersmaker's 4 edge on that pole position. And not quite getting into the 126s, but his 2 lap times were certainly very close. And also Ibrahim Khan in that 2nd place, as we said.
So I think they're going to jump straight into the race.
Your race winner from last time out down there in 5th place before your championship leader in 6th. So I think, Ewan, we've actually got a slightly mixed
Robin in 9th is great too.
In terms of who was doing well in the previous races. So I think we're in for an exciting race here.
Yeah, I think we definitely are in for an exciting race. It's all the usual suspects you would expect to see up there. There's no real surprises in terms
Again, let's have a look at David in 3rd, and where is Colin Sporg in 13th? I mean, it's not the end of the world for him, obviously, but 23 points is quite a bit. If I were David, I would like just stay in 4th. The only threat, where is Arne? I think Arne's behind as well. So the only thing David needs to look at right now is like keeping ahead of Arne and of Roivers, obviously. But anything else, like at this point, it's just
5 points over second and
try and take it, try and get it.
And then obviously it's 1 down from there. So if you do get a race win, you do take a big leap forward in the championship. So you know that Kiesermakers could use that to his advantage, or indeed anybody else who's just lurking in behind. Ibrahim Khan could use it to get himself back in contention.
Yep, Laurie, no stream.
Really far away from at the moment, you know, it could all change. The championship
David
race.
had a full lap of Polish words. I can imagine.
Spork and Khan situation is quite interesting. They're so far down.
No, just I don't think it will. It will make you more stable and more enjoyable, but I think it adds a weight penalty.
That's a lot of positions they've got to get. But let's just say that they're out of the championship, you know, in real terms, or in realistic terms, I should say. But them getting, you know, in
even Robin is sitting considerably happy there in P4 in the championship. But let's see what's happening. It's going to be a long race.
So those 2 drivers of Spork and Khan could actually play quite a role, and even Kiesermakers a little.
Who is pole position? 26.0. So a full second faster.
So yeah, I think
it's Nicolini.
Battle, and as we said, after this race, we'll be halfway through the season, and we'll really have an idea of.
Oh, there is a warm-up.
But the driver's just out on a.
Thought there is straight into the race.
So I think, Ewan, maybe it's time to talk a bit through the strategy, and with a 45-minute race, and there being refueling, when you take that full 45 minutes of fuel, yes, you don't have to stop, but then you are a lot slower on track. So I do think we're going to see at least quite a few drivers try the 1-stop.
Yeah, let's hope for our sake that we see some attempting the no-stop as well. I would like that. Just a little bit of difference to kind of shake things up a little bit. We'll wait and see.
Railroad, Nicolini.
Yeah, the pit lane's not especially long at the Nürburgring. You can get away with the stop fairly comfortably, I would say. So I'd expect to see that as well. Just watch out for a circuit like Indy in the next couple of weeks, really, with regards to that. You know, making a stop or not. That's quite a long pit lane in reality at the Grand Prix circuit there. So maybe that payoff might not be such an obvious choice, if you see what I mean.
FSOs have always developed
down the pit lane there.
Nicolini, I don't understand.
Very short as well. Not going to be a problem around here, around there either. Monza, kind of long pit lane as well. So I'd be looking out for Indy and Monza really for the no stop at gamblers, let's call them, with regards to the strategy. But yeah, I would go along with that really, with the 22 minutes of fuel or whatever it's going to be for them in this race. It's just to keep the car a little bit light, keep it a little bit more responsive, and that's what we've seen so far. We'll probably see that again.
I think one of the main also points for this race is the difficulty of overtaking compared to some other circuits we saw at.
What is Khan doing on his steering wheel there?
We saw some of the 2-stoppers work, and I can actually tell you just from information that I have sourced,
that car looks bland today, yeah.
In the pro race was on paper quicker, but obviously everyone did a 1-stop because they want the track position. So here we'll have to see how that one works out, because obviously a 1-stop in the pro race is still 30 minutes of fuel, whereas here it's 45.
What a flight!
And the car's going to be a lot, as we see a nice slow-mo there of Kiesermakers getting the chicane wrong. So yeah, 45 minutes of fuel, you're going to be a lot slower. And when we mean a lot slower, we mean even up to 2 seconds a lap.
I can understand Nicolini if he
so it's going to
pretends to speak proper English.
Right, and with just how close it is, I think that strategy element could be what is very important, especially considering that the softs have a bit more wear now, and you might have to choose mediums, which obviously are a bit slower if you do that.
Yeah, we'll wait and see on the tyre compounds as well with regards to choice. But it's always very difficult.
Grand stability of the Burst esports car.
If you see what I mean, you know, it's all well
amazing.
Calculating these things, and it's not like a very long 24-hour race. You can simulate a 45-minute race, no problem. You can try all different kinds of strategies really, in one evening, to be honest, and it's good practice for you as well. So yeah, it's some of these guys will definitely have done that. Will definitely have tried the no stop, one stop, maybe two stop, different tyre compounds, of course, as well over the length of the race. They'll be trying those out. So I'd imagine these guys know exactly what they're doing at this point in terms of planning their strategy and things.
You did some handball. Are you actually kidding me?
We talk a lot about these simulations and
Peruvian national player or what?
That these guys aren't flexible enough in these races. A situation may arise where your original strategy might not be as advantageous anymore. If you're stuck in traffic or something, you might want to do something a little bit different. If you're out front, then maybe your strategy changes. Maybe you stick to the
with rocks, copy.
I do worry sometimes that
don't get any head injuries.
Because as you mentioned, it's so close. Strategy is going to be very important. In my opinion, you can't go in with one plan expecting it to.
Oh, you throw the rocks into. No way. Have you been demonstrating?
Have some kind of. Race knowledge, I would call it.
Man, we need you at home. We need you at the designing board.
Making the right calls on the fly, which is very, very difficult.
Not demonstrating at the ARR buildings.
The hardest bit, really, about racing is actually the strategy side of it, especially in the sort of, I guess, modern era, you can call it. Strategy is just so important because now there are so many drivers and teams that can get to that top level. You really need to make sure that you are getting everything out of your car and out of your performance, and you just need to work out what is the quickest way of getting to the finish line. This driver on the screen, Colin Spork, he was that
copy getting to the finish line. So meanwhile, while they are still doing warm-up, I'm gonna feed my Instagram account a bit with some stuff.
Is the way to go.
We are looking
to make that one-stop work. And for those looking out for some tyre differences, you see that all the drivers always, Barbakov there goes for a big spin into the barrier there. That is not nice. If he does that in the race, hopefully he'll be all okay. But you see most of the drivers here, they have the white sidewall tyres.
Papa Jerne, you are right, of course, to a certain extent.
Medium. And that is,
but Nicolini could be Pepper Hyde and hide behind the rocks.
The driver uses the medium, so it's certainly something to look out for.
Lexa, to which part of that one drive?
You do want to see these drivers who have a bit of a different strategy trying
Alexa, stop.
Yeah,
FFS.
So it would be good to see the different strategies playing out. It's all well and good having kind of unexpected for the viewer. We've not really seen Formula Pro or Formula Challenge before. It's all a little bit new to spectators and commentators alike. So that is all interesting or whatever. But you would like to see different strategies coming out in the race. It's just about how different teams approach it, really. Yeah, we'll wait and see who kind of goes for a different strategy. But I'll be interested to see how the
why is that going anyway?
Now we're getting, as you mentioned, to the crunch point of the season, halfway through after this race.
Let me see.
Are the teams going to be getting behind one driver to propel themselves into the top two? Are they going to protect their own interests at this stage? I'm thinking about guys like we're on board.
Like what exactly you need?
Trying to defend from people so that he can take points off of Noah Royver's rivals, or is Carlos Martin going to try and stay as close as possible because he's only 21 points adrift from his teammate right now? Is he going to protect his own interests, or is he going to help out his teammates? His teammate. This is the kind of thing that we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks, really, with regards to this championship. Because after all, it's only the top two that nominate a second driver and go through into Formula Pro next season.
Yes, very, very tight indeed. And as you say, for the team side of it, I think you really do have to focus on that team side, because ultimately you do need to, especially in Formula Challenge, you do need to focus on that one driver to get themselves up. Because even if Carlos Martin finishes, say, 5th, 6th in the championship, as long as Noah gets into that top two, then Carlos can potentially join him in that team in Formula Pro next season.
We
so
are
they
looking.
do need to at least be looking at that, and hopefully
what exactly you need?
Sort out Edge, one of those teams that's actually just that little bit further behind because of Quizmakers having a couple of issues here and there.
Wrong Google account, grande.
Thing. but certainly it's what.
Nah, you not do me. You know, you just did a mistake.
Really focus on the team aspect, and I do like.
Sector, where is the jacket? Here is the jacket. Well, it's a bit warm still, so no jacket time. But oh wait, since I know what you're referring to, so let me quickly get this on and pretend we're Papa Toto, right?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of that going on.
Oh, Papa Toto is watching the guys. Hello. But if I would be Papa Toto, I would probably need a... What is it? Like, no jacket. It is called... Fuck's sake, I need to Google it.
Yeah, there's all that to come into play as well. A little bit of team politics as well, I guess. That's going to come into play over the next few weeks. But yeah, let's wait and see what.
A shirt.
Not long to go now. Softs or mediums? What strategy are they going to go for? 1 stop, 2 stop, 0 stop. Wait and see.
Is it called a shirt? It's not a shirt.
As we have the drivers getting towards
well,
the...
you know,
saw there on
Mercedes guys are wearing the big man gloves. So.
And Mrocek on those top 4 positions, and I think those 4 are going to go.
So very important for David is not to die and kind of stay ahead of Arne and Roivers, and then he'll be probably fine.
Out the top 8. So here we're starting to get some of those teammates trying to work with them. Then Panzar in 9th place, Vagianis in 10th before Rainey and Lopez Arjona.
Is it true that it's called Burst Esports GT Pro car reveal instead of GT Pro Race 1 highlights?
Duo here, and then
something to look for the guys tomorrow. So Lexar has done a shitload of editing work in the past couple of days about the first race of the GT Pro series around Monza, and well, we're gonna see that tomorrow, I guess. I'm gonna upload and schedule it for sometime in the evening, probably 6-7 p.m. kind of. Anyway, for today we are looking Formula Challenge though, so they are just probably out on formation lap.
It always does.
And personally, I can't wait to get this race going and see how good our setup is in the race trim.
It is smooth, but we're not expecting it to be. It's a very tight corner to our first a rude awakening, you might say, into this race. So yeah, they're going to have to be on it right from the off.
Not necessarily. Wait, what have you done?
And guys further down who haven't had a good qualifying are going to be starting to realise that. That, you know, I really need to get up the order early on.
I'm probably gonna have a look what you've done first before I announce something. Copy, we are looking.
So, yeah, let's wait and see. But there's already some politics going on here. Kizamakers has been allowed to go miles out front by Ibrahim Khan here. He's a good, he's miles away, backing up the field as if he's on.
What is Casemakers doing? Is he really 10 seconds off Khan? Or is that just a glitch in...
Ready to get onto the line here, but yeah, it shouldn't.
Actually, he did.
Let's hope not. Anyway, he's got a lot of time to compose himself here.
But,
yeah,
but why?
Does, in theory, Khan should be a little bit closer.
Man, Casemakers, you're gonna smoke your engine to death.
But yeah, you see, Casemakers is going to be sitting there quite a while, but hopefully he's got everything in check and it's not going to be too much of an issue. As we get the drivers now coming to the grid to start this third.
The GT Pro car reveal for the team. Noise. Yeah, gonna send. Yeah, okay. So now the cinematic made sense.
Another race here. They're still really
gonna send it to the Burst Esports media department. They're gonna be thrilling. Thank you so much for the work, Lexar. Anyway, we're getting up to the race. Where are the lights? Last car is lined up. Casemaker's still not smoking. Interesting.
And when they go out, we'll be racing. So we've got 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights, and away we go for the third race.
Grand start from you, David.
Casemaker is already coming to the inside, but Khan is trying to get there as well. Before we have Spork now trying to go around the outside.
Where is the turn 1?
of Ibrahim Khan before there's a couple of issues in the background. We've got one of the spinners there, and Khan has got himself back up into
Good
P2,
job,
but he
David,
hasn't, 'cause
keeping
Colin
it at
Spork is
fourth.
once again coming down the inside. There's a bit of
Spork
contact between the two.
and
Coming
contact.
Spork and Khan's gonna go wide. That's going to allow Mocek now to come
Mocek
up
on the
into
outside of
top
Khan.
three, and
Where
he's
are
gonna be
you
able to come out
guys?
on top of that. I think actually Khan's been able to get better exits, being able to get back up into that top three.
Spork in second is a threat though. Well, Spork has more pressure though in the championships kind of few. So far so good everything.
Already was getting quite aggressive through the Mercedes arena, but no, I didn't see anything that you would say was unjust or unfair or anything like that. It was just hard racing at the end of the day. Keysmakers has made a very good start and he's made a run for it already. Here, Colin Spork is trying to chase after him right now. And just in the background there, did see a couple of spinners. Zampini, I think, has been around. So has Yalo Giannis. I think I saw a white and pink car spinning around at turn number 1. So yeah, there were a couple of problems further down the back, but
yeah, Alexa, I hear you. Okun,
yes,
I hear you.
That is
it's a shame though.
And here we have two of the NetRex guys. So Martin, I think he dropped a position or two there. We have his teammate Rainey now getting up into 9th place, which is I think a position higher than what he started on the grid.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
So
yeah, no, absolutely. Or long enough of a freeze that he appears behind Mrozek and then blocks Rovers.
They've got 3 cars.
But rather no freeze at all, please.
So good start from them, and they just need to try and help
What?
them,
Full lock into turn 1.
Rovers, but he's a little bit on his own there in that 5th place at the moment, but hopefully he's going to be able to get a little
No,
bit
David, I'm happily not racing here. I'm happily racing in Formula Pro.
Past Khan though, who is now trying to close on the back of Spork as Keysmakers pulls away.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 guys who are not really in
Yellow in
contention
S1 issues.
6 at the very least. Are out front 1, 2, 3 right now. Mrozek is going to be gaining a singular point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I will, Lexa. I'm pretty sure. And I think the team will love it too.
Kind of marshalling his way through.
Oh, your favorite? Then it means you made something really, really special.
And of course, he's got in front of Schumvliet, which is very, very important for his season.
Yeah, no worries, David. No worries.
Championship lead at this point. Yeah, let's have a look at the replay of the start. No, Rovers, see how he did it, because it was really funneling down. It was very, very close indeed between everybody.
Schumvliet's start was good as well.
He's come out on top in this one, or at least he's managed to get a position. So down the inside here, Mrozek gets a little bit loose on the entry to turn 1 there, which kind of blocks off Schumvliet a little bit inadvertently, and it allows Rovers to have a go himself here. That was Colin Spork and Ibrahim Khan getting into contact. Nobody at fault there. I think it was just racing between them, getting a little bit aggressive. But yeah, I think Mrozek.
Khan was pretty on the edge though, twice.
Halted Schumvliet briefly, and Rovers was able to slip up the inside and actually benefit from that without even thinking about it almost.
Good areas.
Front wing going there in turn 1 as well. But yeah, there was a couple of little wiggles there. Firstly from Mrozek in turn 1, as you say, but also Spork coming in to turn 3, which actually sort of helps.
So let's see what Keysmakers is doing pace-wise. I think the good news is that Mrozek is... I like the top 4 are moving away from Rovers and Schumvliet at the minute.
Part of the race. But now we're focusing
just
on
good news.
He got Schumvliet right behind him, about half a second, or there's going up now as they're accelerating out of the corner right to the bottom of the track before coming uphill once again through the Schumacher S and then out onto the back straights, where we will be getting some DRS once that gets activated on the 3rd lap of the race as well, and then we'll start seeing some potential overtaking opportunities.
Yeah, it's going to start to develop over the next few moments in the race. It's no point throwing everything away this early on.
So Spork is not in DRS, but Khan is, and Mrozek is within DRS of Khan.
If anybody's going to be going for it in the next, well, other than this move,
what was going on there? Is that Robin?
A bit of a mistake there, and behind Millwood going over the curbs there as well. Glad we got.
Too bad he cannot capitalize on it.
But if anybody's going to be getting aggressive up front, I think it's going to be Ibrahim Khan here, because he's certainly got the pace. He's all over the back of Colin Spork right now, but Spork's just holding him back a little bit, and if Khan wants to win this race, he can't sit behind the Dutchman forever. So if anybody's going to be making a move in the top sort of 10 or so, I would expect it to be Ibrahim Khan in 3rd.
Yeah, he's been really the benchmark so far. So we've almost seen some side-by-side battling here into turn number 2. We've got Canero down the inside of Darius Andre there into turn number 3 and 4. Can he get it around the outside then, or is Andre going to be able to hold it on the inside? He does, and that's going to get
he's racing though.
A bit of a run now up towards turn 5, but it's not going to be quite close enough there. In the slipstream, so some good battling here in the midfield. These guys are going to be trying to get themselves a little bit higher up to try and get some good points. Oh,
Rip!
There goes for a bit of a spin on the outside of turn number 6. He actually catches that really well, but he's going to have some flat spotted tyres.
Yeah, there's tyres going to be
Thank you, David. Much appreciating your words.
Getting a bit eager really on the throttle there and dropping it on the exit.
You're trying to learn German.
The guys in front and thought I'll have a bit of this, but got a little bit excited.
I cannot speak German myself good enough to give tips, so
yeah, not great as Robin Panzar's trying to make it.
Yeah, I don't know really. Like,
pretty racy as well.
just try and keep speaking it, and totally think outside the box. Like,
excuse me, over the chicane. So
what is your native language?
Another mistake or indeed make a move himself, but currently just being this close, not quite close enough, especially when most of the guys in front have got DRS as well.
Yeah, certainly indeed, although Panzer there actually pretty good on the brakes, catching up quite a lot. And just behind him is Aidan Millward up into the top 13. He did get a top 10 back in Silverstone, but firstly, let's get a replay here of Bala. He was actually having a fairly decent exit. I don't know if that was the dirty air or maybe just a little bit too eager on the throttle. We're just going for the spin there, which was
Spanish.
Yeah,
sadly, I never had any Spanish. Would need to ask my brother if there is a similarity, but
up in P13, doing good.
like, you know that we got gendered words, so female and male words kind of thing, so that is similar, but it may be different compared to how Spanish languages gender the words.
Is the fellow commentator of ours.
Yes, it'll be in action 4 days, I think, on GT Pro once again. So, yeah, driving it here today and doing a good job of it. Up a couple of positions from the start. Robin Panzer, one of the
if
the top 15, losing 3 spots.
Vegianis wouldn't have had DRS, that would have been crazy good for David. But now I wait for Khan to do something on Spork.
It was the driver who lost front wing in that opening corner there, so that's why he's dropped 8 spots. But on board with Ibrahim Khan at the moment.
Bit too far back, I guess.
Why it's so difficult to overtake around here, because in with the DRS and being relatively close to Colin Spork.
But Spork's certainly slower than the cars behind, so Roivers is still in there. Like, everyone is following with a little bit of a safety margin, I'd say.
You decide eventually the moment is going to come. That's when we're going to see the move being made. But you can definitely see Spork starting to mirror drive just a little bit, because he's losing that little bit of time to the leader.
Yeah, it's always a difficult point in these first sort of 5 or so laps of the race, where everyone's on, obviously, you know, fairly low fuel, especially if they're doing this one-stop strategy, and also the tyres haven't really worn too much yet, and everyone will have pretty much the same tyre wear as well by this point of the race. So there isn't really that difference. Once we start seeing some of the drivers maybe damaging their tyres more than their rivals, that's when we'll see some drivers maybe wheel spinning out of a corner, giving them the driver behind the opportunity with the DRS, because that's really the main point with the DRS.
Yeah, but sadly I'm not really like really great in German grammar and stuff, so
it will certainly be.
Anyway, we see Ibrahim Khan is closing in on Spork. If he nails the chicane and the final turn, actually he could be in contention for a move, really. Like, just 2.5 tenths there. Well, looks like he could exit. Actually, 3 tenths. That could be in striking distance for a lunge into turn 1.
He's got to look in here if he wants to make a late move on the brakes. Can he go deep enough into the braking zone? Just a difficult one. Side by side. Colin Spork's going to have the inside for the Mercedes arena, though. We'll see if he can hold on. Ibrahim Khan around the outside, and he can't get there for the moment. So that's the first move really being made. And Ibrahim Khan shows that not easy by any stretch of the imagination. Couldn't quite do it there.
Yeah,
oh, this is tense though.
This is actually really good for battling, because you saw there, if that was just a normal hairpin, Ibrahim Khan.
I'm a bit sweaty hands here with having a burst car involved in that group.
Hang it around the outside of turn 1. But let's see what Lopez Arjona was doing here. Out of the final corner, almost doing what Fabian Bala did, but managed to actually save that. A little bit of an overcorrection, but managed
What
to
the grip there in the gravel.
Back in, and that is going to allow that's how Aidan Millward and Robin Panzer, etc., got past him. That must have been a few laps ago, because that was what we saw a bit early on. But you see here, Millward coming out the final corner and seeing that Volante car, giving him a nice, easy position.
Yeah, that's the best thing to see as a driver, really. Just someone going slowly.
And again, we're at it.
It's a bit of a dream, really. So that's unfortunate for Lopez Iona, because he's going to have to work hard to get all those positions back now. But obviously,
they're going to do that again, David. They're going to do that again.
He just went through there. So
Khan is even closer this time round.
Sport versus Khan
just
again,
needs to go a bit deeper.
A similar thing. It's all allowing the leader to get away, but Khan just wants to get through. However, he can manage it.
This time,
later, but Sport fights a little bit harder all at the same time. He's got the inside line for turn 2 again, and it's almost like watching a replay. Only this time, Khan is trying to hang it around the outside through.
They're gonna crash at some point. Trust me.
He's got the inside for 4, but he can't quite. It's inviting pressure from behind as well. This is not good news for the Zancho driver, because Mocek, Roivers, Schumfli and Perisis almost all there, all involved, and it's the pressure.
It's gonna get easy for Chaosmakers though.
Right now.
And Chaosmakers.
Yeah, I think most of the guys will box.
Half seconds, almost 4 seconds in the lead.
Unless Spork
his life out the front there.
Is on a
Spork, he is
0 strop. I don't know.
So it's hard to say from the lap times. He is a second slower than Chaosmakers at the moment.
But I think Spork has been too quick in the opening laps for the heavy fuel. So
purely him just being a bit slower, maybe from a slightly heavier car or something like that. We'll have to find out when we get towards potential pit stop phase. But Khan is definitely the quicker driver at the moment. He's able to hold it so much closer at those important corners, such as out of the final corner. And in a few moments, he's going to be able to get that chance again. But if he starts battling too hard,
I think Khan just needs to go even deeper into turn 1, whether that is a smart thing to do or not. This time around, he's too far back, I'm afraid.
With Khan, so yeah, he just definitely doesn't want that. He wants the position off of Spork, but he definitely doesn't want, he doesn't want Mocek involved in any way. He gave it a little look to the inside on that occasion there on Colin Spork, but nothing doing for Ibrahim Khan once again. This is the point now where you start to wonder, can I do anything in the pit stop cycle to gain back some of the positions he lost? Under brakes.
I thought he's going to lose the rear.
But he's got it stopped. And Aidan Millward just giving him a little bit of extra space there to work his way on past. And I don't think he'd be too disappointed by that, because he knows that he will, might get him again later. But most of all, I think he realises that Lopez Iona's got a little bit of extra pace, and if they don't battle, it's probably the best for both of them. So that was quite civilised between the two. But it's certainly less civilised up here, and it's very, very aggressive indeed.
Roiver's gonna soon have a lunge on David though, and I'm sure David could do faster, but you see the train.
These two, and yeah, it's certainly entertaining for Mocek and whatever to watch on from behind as well, to see if they can pick up the pieces from anything that might happen.
Yeah, it's getting very tight here indeed, and from the championship perspective, 1 point per each of these positions just shows you how important it is. And Lopez there,
nice save.
Saving it, almost losing the rear end, but just managing to feather the brakes.
Now where is the P2, guys? Thank you.
Smash into the Zancho driver, because that
too far back, I guess.
Helpful for anyone's race, but Khan once again can't quite get too close on that occasion. But these guys behind, they're getting very close indeed.
This one is going to be decided by strategy, I assume.
Sitting there, but he really has to wait for a mistake, because he sort of has
who's
to
maybe going for under or overcut and make it work.
Braking so late, trying to get close to Spork, that he really needs to watch out, or Mocek needs to watch out not to get involved, to get himself in a really awkward situation where Khan's not expecting it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about those kind of surprise.
Yeah, well.
Because it is.
Järne, I don't want to see that again, though.
A million times. You got to kind of get somewhere.
Like, I had to open the steering big time or not turn in order to avoid a crash, so it's not how I consider racing.
But we talk about this battle as if it's the most important thing that's ever happened in this championship.
Khan is close again. 2.5 tenths. Is he? No.
These guys, so you almost
tempted, spreading out again.
Almost tempted to just sit here for the moment, and sure, if something happens in front, then I'll pick up the pieces from it, no problem. But I wouldn't be risking.
Khan's car is so good around the chicane. That's where he really makes up the ground.
Definitely wouldn't be risking the car to get in front of either Khan or Spork here. So I think there will be a little bit of caution exercise throughout this race, especially from those guys further back. But Khan has really got to start winning races, or at very least finishing in the top 2 on the podium, etc. if he wants a chance at being in Formula Pro next year. So if I was him, then yes, you justify making a move. But, you know, those 3 further behind, maybe not.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation because Keersmakers is really starting to get away now. He's now over 5 seconds, and even as they've stopped battling, the pace difference between Spork and Keersmakers has gone down to about 3/10 of a second, so it's not quite as extreme as that 1 second when Khan and Spork were going side by side.
Hello,
those,
Gianmarco.
that they did. Keersmakers really
doing all right.
Watching
the
teammates.
teammates
Who may not have seen Keersmakers before, because he hasn't,
going for a good
as far as
result.
I'm aware, hasn't been in any of the sort of GT series or official series that we've had so far over the last couple of years that rFactor have been doing that. But he is a very fast
Thing is, you
driver
can't
indeed,
really
and
set an undercut
they,
either,
again,
since
they
there is
haven't
no
really been in
gap.
some of
There
those
is
series,
like
but
P10
again,
is
they are
where
very, fast
it's
and
fairly,
competent team,
but
and they're just showing it here.
it's just
So,
17 seconds
I'm not
to
really too surprised
Mojek,
to see
and
him out the front. By getting
we'll
over
just
5
run
seconds,
into
it's
them
very close
if he
indeed
does
as
it.
we get Kaneo and Andre battling once again.
Yes, these battles going on further down the order are also happening. There's a lot going on because there's a lot of battles going on up and down the order, but can't show them all, unfortunately. But Kaneo was looking very pacey there, but couldn't quite get through on Andre. Used to seeing Kaneo in kind of prototype cars. He's pretty quick in them, but seemingly doing all right in Formula Challenge at the moment, as once again, it is like watching a replay. It really is between these guys, because Khan gets really close to Sport, but not quite able
I'm
to
really
make the
interested
move
what
over the
did
next
Khan
5 minutes
do
or so.
different
We're
in
gonna
those
start to
2
see pit
laps where
stops,
he
but
was utterly
is somebody
close.
going to go long? Is somebody going to try and go early? Try and do something different? I feel like somebody in this train has to, because you know, not everybody's going to even be able to make one overtake in this train here the way it is, especially with the DRS and everybody getting it. So yeah, surely somebody is going to roll the dice.
They have to at some point, but the issue of pitting this early is where you come out, because you're just going to come out into traffic at the moment with how it is. That's why sometimes you have to wait, get a bit further. And I do wonder, I don't think Spork is going slow enough that maybe he's trying a 0 stop. Obviously we'll have to find out. But I think maybe what he's doing is having a little bit more fuel, so he will effectively get the overcut. So once Khan and Co pit behind him,
Khan is close now, though.
But they'll be on heavier fuel. So the undercut in these refueling situations isn't always the best. Sometimes the overcut is better, because the lack of fuel that you have, even though you've got worn tyres.
Well, how close is he really?
So we'll have to see
I think
again.
it could work out for a move.
On
this time.
round. Can he get close enough to have a dive down the inside? He's going to be very close indeed. He's going to be diving it down the inside now. Once again, we've seen this a couple of times. Can Spork hold it around the outside once again, like he has now, given the inside for turn number 2, and that seems to be a really good overtaking opportunity. Or
Khan is going to go the inside
once again. Looking down the inside of turn 3,
but they are losing. I mean, Keersmakers is overall hills anyway.
Even with a bit of wheel spin, he's able
It's
to
only about who's going to come second in that
tried
race.
Something a little bit different there, did Khan, and went for the crisscross at turn 2 for a dive at turn 3, but didn't really work out, and I wouldn't expect to see him do that again. Because it's actually brought in more pressure than he actually was able to put on to Spork there.
If
so,
I'd be Khan, I would start trying
that,
something
but,
different
I really
now.
thought that was it for Spork then, especially
If
the way that
possible,
Khan was
of course.
sending it in under
But now it's
brakes once
7/10
so
again.
Very confident on them into the downhill turn 1, which is always very tricky.
Meanwhile,
And of
Roivers
course,
is
that
right
start
on the
exit
back
as
on
well,
David.
Even though he had the inside line, you start to worry for Spork that he was going to lose that, but in the end, the inside line through turn 2 seems very powerful indeed. We've seen it a couple of times now. Khan is not able to make any headway at all. He went in, one of the times he was in front of Sport going into turn 2 on the outside line, but was still barely alongside by the time they'd finished that manoeuvre. So yeah, it's really starting to not pay off for Ibrahim Khan, and so that is exactly why he's in.
Khan goes box.
And that is an interesting one. So we've had just almost exactly 20 minutes of the race, and now Khan comes in. So he will have to take a bit more.
Gonna be interesting to see.
I
think he may be stuck behind Robin
tank is empty, or
and Wagianis, even if just for a lap
the Zancho strategy as
or two.
is coming in as well. But the important point here is where's Khan going to come out?
Panzer through, Wagianis through, Ariona through.
Where is he going to come out? That is very important. Because
And there's
if he comes out into
Bruntham
traffic,
coming. Actually,
then
he
going to
comes
be
out.
having some issues, but
Not in the gap,
he's
exactly.
at
He is
Brandholm
right
just
in the
getting a
traffic,
bit,
so I don't
ahead of
think
him.
that
And
undercut's
then
gonna
if he
work.
gets past Brandholm, he does have some seconds, about 4-5 seconds of clean air. So getting past Brandholm is going to be very crucial here for Khan. But already Mocek is on the back of Spork, and this could be quite important for the overall battle, because Mocek might be able to get past Khan if he's stuck in traffic.
It's going to be important for him to get past Brandholm, but my worry is that that's already it, really. He's got more fuel on board, so he might well be slower in that department. And also he's got traffic involved there, so
yeah, I agree.
A little bit different, which is
I don't think that undercut has worked very nice.
Unfortunately, it's not quite worked out how he wanted to. If he was just to be able to get in front of Brandholm there, then it would have been absolutely
David
perfect,
with a
bit
of a mistake. Khan, no, Spork into pits. Oh, that's gonna be interesting now.
Both into the pit lane. Mocek and Roivers carry on for one more time. Yeah, it's going to be very, very crucial now for Spork to get out in front. And what about Khan? Where does Brandholm involve in all of this as well? Because he's got to be around here somewhere as well.
Spork 2/10 less pit time.
Gets out obviously ahead of
Schonfleet 7.2 only. Oh dear.
This is going to be very important.
Who's this now?
Khan has got past Brandholm on this lap.
Is this Khan?
But where is he going to be? Where is Spork going to be? What is better, the over or the undercut? Let's see as we come down into turn number 1. I can only see Schindler, which must mean Spork is up the road, and yes, he is. So Spork has managed to defend from that, just showing that staying out on those older tyres is still a possible strategy. So
it's not.
Really
Mocek box.
These drivers. Let's see how long they stay out.
Well, I've got to ask the question, because I think if Khan didn't come out behind Brandholm there, I think he would have got him, because you saw how close it was. 3 or 4 tenths or so.
I think so too. I think David and Roivers are heavily undercut by
he's just running his race.
By Schonfleet now, especially Schonfleet, only 7.2 seconds pit stop time.
Absolutely fine. So there it is.
Rip.
It wasn't even close in the end. You can see the blue car on the right hand side there is Khan. That's how close it is. Without Brandholm interference, I would say that that lead or that position is definitely going to change. But let's wait and see with Mocek now. Now that Khan and Spork have got clean air, how far is Mocek going to be behind them? Is he just going to slot in behind them perfectly like he was before? Or is he going to be in towards the clutches of Schindler maybe?
Let's see, as we're going to see. Oh, that's Khan getting past.
Khan got
Spork.
by.
Spork has actually lost that position, ironically, on the place we've really.
Come on, David, that is your chance for P2. Where are you?
Getting past Colin Spork, who's finally given up. What is that? Net
and he's out. He's out. Yes! The overcut worked nicely. Get in there, David. Oh, that was amazing. Like, probably just them battling was just enough of time. And Kiyosaka, thank you so much for €8.55 donation here on the Streamlab. Well, on the stream. Much appreciating that. Alex Martini, thank you for joining.
Has evolved, but it's very, very hard to tell whether that was due to this move right here or whether Mocek was just quicker. You can definitely see that it's going to happen.
Khan probably had warmer tires.
A very textbook maneuver into the chicane, but
Tony, I'm not racing because I'm not in that league group.
It's, as I said, it's very, very hard to tell whether that was the moment right there. But it can't have helped them. There's no doubt.
David, just bring it home. Yeah, this is great. This is amazing.
Less fuel as well, so you can potentially save a His makers. His stop was only 6.6, yeah, so or 6.8. So Khan's was actually 7.9. So Kizmaker's staying out, save over a second, and Roivers is staying out even longer. So Roivers could potentially get himself up past at least maybe a couple of these drivers. We'll have to see.
Penalty for Kizmakers.
Penalty. Kizmakers is.
Get in there, David. You're up for the win.
going to have a penalty, that is going to completely change the course of this race, because even if that's a drive-through penalty, he is going to go way down the field and lose best part of 20 to 30 seconds.
David, you have the chance of payback.
Disaster for our race leader, and a really, really costly error that he didn't need to make at this point. And oh dear, that is such a shame for him. Real shame. And yeah.
Question is, when is Vagianis and Panzer gonna box though?
That is going to mean he's not going to drop too many spots, but at the end of
the
day,
good thing is Mrožek is able to pull away from Khan, which is amazing.
He would have wanted, and you know, get in the position that he's in at the moment.
I think he got it at the end of the pit road.
To stop making strides forward, really, and this kind of mistake is a step backwards. And I really feel for him, because he's been.
Yeah, and David is now running into the traffic with Vagianis and Robin ahead. That is an issue. Or is that is blue flags? Is that blue flags? Please.
But every point matters because of that, and losing multiple points because of this is going to be not great. But look at all this traffic. This is really getting in the way of some of these drivers. We have a bit of a spin there from someone at the back, but we also have Martin Parisis.
So Roivas, Martin, Parisis all in the pits. Panzer not in the pits, I guess.
So who is going to come out on top?
Let's wait and see.
Whoa!
At the moment, coming out Roivas on the right-hand side. Very close with Colin Spork, but in the end,
what have I just seen?
He was very close and nearly got through, but not quite. Simply has lost out in all of this. A bit of traffic has got in his way, really, and it's making it quite difficult to tell who's where at this point. There's some guys who haven't even pitted yet either, with Panzer and Vaginis as well, who needs to come into the pit lane, so that's going to be confusing things just a little bit as well. But yeah, here it is. Lauren Kuijsmakers on the entry to the pit lane just misjudges this at some point. Clearly, we're going to slow it down and see how close it was, but just agonising viewing for anyone.
That's not even close at all. 20 kph at this stage.
Close. He was miles over. He was 20 odd k's over, because I believe it's 80 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. Mrožek coming.
And Mrožek was playing it super safe.
So he is 100 k's here, and Kuijsmakers was 100.
Like, look how early he was on the pit limiter there, like 20 meters too early.
He would lose a few thousandths from that.
But he learned from Silverstone.
Pushing it way too hard and losing some
Oh,
time.
who's this?
Is that
David?
Up into third, and these overtakes are very crucial, because that is putting time and space between him and Khan. So
yes! Good job! Panzer in the pits meanwhile.
And then by the time Kuijsmakers makes his
And he should come out behind Martin in 11th.
Fantastic driving from Mrožek. Very smart driving. And the way he's come out of the blocks in his second stint has been absolutely electric. We saw Khan really on the back.
Yeah, this is the perfect condition for David now.
He's not really been able to do that to Mrožek so far, which is a testament to the Polish driver, really, the way he's been able to.
Oh, Khan is losing it.
He spins in front of Roivas and Sport. Goodness me! And that is any championship challenge that he had left lingering completely down the drain. Any hopes of a race win also completely gone.
It's bad for David in the championship, to be honest, but
so well this season,
anyway.
He's not had the results to show for it.
And can I just say, some really good reactions from both Spork and Roivas to avoid that, because that could have been a huge and a very important crash had they done that, but they managed to avoid it, and that is great for them. But unfortunately, Khan once again having a couple of issues here and there, and he really could be fighting for this title, but unfortunately that's the third race in a row that he's having a few issues.
Actually, one needs to hope that Spork keeps that virtual second place at the minute, as Roivas is ahead in the championship, Schonfleet is ahead in the championship, so
just not quite there. Yeah, he's agonisingly close, really. Clearly in qualifying he was pretty good, but over the race.
Yeah, this is a pretty exciting race. I agree.
On it at this point, so yeah, he's been a bit of a block in the road here. But at the end of the day, he's still in second place. He will be in second place at the end of all this. So he must be pretty pleased with how this is going. So yeah, let's wait and see. Anyway, Roivas is trying to get past Sport, because if he were to be able to, he would protect his championship lead from Mrožek, who's really starting to bang on the door of that lead of Roivas.
Yeah, it's getting very close indeed. Let's see a replay here. This is Mrocek on the inside of Vagianis.
Only because of
breaking Vagianis and
fresh tires though, but a
a
solid move, absolutely spot on.
Clean, so he would have lost barely any time, and even with the DRS and slipstream, he might have actually became
Khan lost it. Yeah, dirty air.
Khan going just getting too much weight transfer on the outside. You can see already, even on the entry, the car wasn't really feeling it, and it was going for a bit of a spin.
Royver's car is super quick in the second sector,
as such, but
he cannot somehow keep close through the chicken.
Seconds, which is going to be very difficult to make up with only 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge margin, and that's not going to come down on his own, I'm afraid. So, yeah, that's an unassailable lead for these guys up front, I would say. And Mrocek's heading towards unassailable lead kind of territory as well at nearly 4 seconds. Unless Roivers can really do anything about Spork right now, then I don't think that gap's going to come down over the next part of the race, last 15 minutes of this race.
Roivers is going to try it.
Championship leader on the back of Spork right now. Surely this is the time now for him to make a move.
Yeah, there's going to be a big dive down the inside there. He needs to make this work, but we know just how Spork likes the outside, so Rob is going to be pushing him up.
Contact between the two.
Spork is going to be able to hold on once again. The outside.
Oh, that is...
one being so powerful in defending, and Roivers really tried to push him.
Spork is on the edge.
Line a bit wider, but
Roivers also pushed him wide, but...
contact actually just helped him. Help Sport get a little bit of a better exit, with Roivers having a bit of...
Roivers is so much quicker though.
He's going to have to try that once again, but Roivers is certainly the quicker driver here, but once again Spork is very capable of defending.
He's been defending really well so far this race, very respectfully, but also very firmly at the same time, so he has been driving well, but frustratingly well for the guys trying to get through on him, and he's had guys trying to get through on him in almost the entire race so far. So, yeah, it's a bit frustrating for Roivers right now, but as I said earlier, for the sake of 2 points, I definitely wouldn't be making contact with Sport like that. Just we saw into turn 1 on that occasion, getting a little bit...
Well, whom of those two needs the point more desperate? Like, Spork is 20 points down.
On Schumvliet at this point. And you know, he's losing a future Mrocek.
I'm close to say that he's even not able to have a chance on the championship and let people at the front die.
Probably going to come out around the top 10 maybe, but let's wait and see. Here comes Roivers down the inside of Spork. It may be this time he can make it stick. Should Spork out a little bit wider, but is it wide enough? Well, yes, just about.
Spork's going to put a nose into...
Oh! No! Spork goes for a spin, and that's remarkable.
Oh.
He's got it back going again, but Carlos Martin's gone straight into the back of him and lost his front wing.
Oh, how has that happened? Roivers just about managing to make a move work, but unfortunately getting a bit wiggly and actually making contact with Spork.
Pen for Roivers coming in.
Well, he couldn't really do too much more than what he did, really, I would say.
Can't wait for the...
view, and Carlos Martin so unlucky to lose his front wing, and that has meant that Schumvliet now on the podium and Paresis up into that 4th place, which is very important for Edge.
I think penalty for Roivers,
after that penalty, but Roivers, we'd have to see a replay of that, but I think that might actually...
Casemakers ahead of Panda, too bad.
Was in a fine position coming out to turn number 2, but I think it was Roivers who was...
I mean, obviously, Spork needs to protest it, but I think he's surely going to protest it if he drops spots by it.
He needs to try and negate that as much as he can, but even if it is a racing incident, that's just so unfortunate for Spork now, who was defending so well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very unfortunate indeed. It could have been a lot worse for him, let's be honest. Let's have a look from the onboard view of the Team Redline driver on the inside line here. Roivers, he gets a bit of a wiggle on, and then it looks like he comes back.
It is a racing incident because Roivers loses it, but it's a pen.
Although it's difficult to see where he's going to go, admittedly.
And Carlos Martin probably with a 24-inch screen, no chance to see the flying car coming.
Carlos Martin, so yeah, I'd be interested to see as well what happened with Schumvliet and Roivers there, because they were side by side through turn 4 because of that move, and they must have got pretty aggressive with each other because they're fighting for the top 2 in this championship, and the situation the way it is right now.
Nicolini, I think Spork kind of hold the line. I don't see his Spork has done too much wrong in that occasion.
going to be quite close. We'll have to see the standings after the race. But obviously, we've still got over 10 minutes left, and it's been very chaotic here. And with all of this, Khan has actually managed to get himself back up into P6. And also, Keersmaker's gaining another position into P8. And only a second behind Rainey. So Keersmaker can get himself into the top 7 despite having that penalty, which obviously isn't great, but it's still better than potentially being way down outside the top 15. Such was the lead that he had actually. So let's
have a look from Sean Fleet's view again.
Getting a really good perspective of this one. It all looks fine now, but Rovers are just spinning up the wheels.
Despite Rovers is not doing it on purpose, of course, but he's losing the car and hits him.
Shumvli managing to get through, but then having a bit of a wiggle himself. And Rovers there getting past. So as you said, just a really clumsy situation for multiple drivers.
Yeah,
Sport couldn't do anything really.
Guess, but yeah, Rovers just quite scared of getting hit by Spork, and when you see a car going backwards like that towards you, I guess you can't blame him. This is that move there. It lets Shumvli up the inside. Does he make contact here, Rovers?
And again,
that's where the wiggle comes from. So contact.
Well, either penalty is going to be, right?
Now, I wonder if that will be looked at in any capacity. Will Shumvli feel aggrieved by that one, and will he report Rovers? Will he hold something against Rovers because of that? We'll wait and see, really. But yeah,
Keersmaker's as close to Rainey.
Because that was definitely our championship leader getting his main rival getting into the side of him, and a little bit of contact, a little bit, yeah. It's an interesting moment, let's put it that way.
Yeah, very big moment, really, because the points are just so important. And Shumvli, if he got past, he could potentially have been up the road. You don't know. So maybe he feels like P2 could have been a good position for him, but he's going to have to try and get past on track as well, as Keersmaker's here on the back of Adam Rainey. So Netrex getting their man up into
I don't think he's going to get to.
Here comes the edge driver of Keersmakers in the DRS, just closing in.
But surely won 10 seconds or something.
Really, good at.
It's not going to be a huge drop anyway. At this stage, he would just drop ahead of Khan even, maybe.
With Shumvli on the outside. Who's going to be on the top as you come into turn
Parisi's passing Sean Fleet would be great, though.
He manages to keep it in a straight line.
I think.
That means that Shumvli is going to keep that position. And
8.5 minutes to go.
Getting himself onto the
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you so much.
Both of these obviously will want the position, and Shumvli is going to try and stay in touch really with Rovers. I think it's more important for Shumvli because Parisis is in a battle to kind of stay in contention for these top
yes, Laurie, David in P1. P1 it is.
Things look, but it's going to be the difference between being 5 or 6 points behind Noah Rovers by the end of it. So yeah, let's wait and see on that one. But this is also a very important battle. Lauren Keersmaker, who's been the fastest driver on this circuit all day long, but unable to make his way past Adam Rainey for the moment. This was his most recent attempt at doing so, late on the brakes, but he comes for a little bit too far back.
Someone just shot himself,
at all off of turn 1 to make
but
any
keeps the position nicely.
Yeah, he just sent it too much over that
gonna
curb, and you can't really see it from that angle.
Go down the drain again.
Drop down that
hey,
curb.
Matthias.
It's a really big drop, and he just couldn't get any traction. Let's see what he can do coming up into the final chicane. He's going to be getting closer once again.
Keersmaker's is so much faster. Like the setup he runs is probably really good.
You're able to get past into turn number 1. He's certainly able to stay close, and as you say, he's been the fastest man all day. But let's see in the slipstream, how close can he get? Adam Rainey defending pretty well so far, but can Laurent get himself down the inside? It's going to be a dive on the brakes once again. Another Netrex driver is going to have to concede the position.
I hate that you cannot just turn in when there is a car.
Overtaking the world, but the edge driver up there into 7th place.
Yeah, it was
like it happens so often.
Get your elbows out in this series to try and make moves, even though it is an open wheeler series. You don't often see that. You do kind of need to get your elbows out and make up positions in
Hello, Claudio.
He's going to be very frustrated as Keersmaker's with himself, so he's not going to have very much patience with everybody else, and you'd expect that at this point. So 7th place for him. He's 7th in the championship right now. Might gain a couple of spaces because the likes of Spork.
Nothing. There's not even going to be a penalty or whatever, Laurie.
Inside the top 5 at the end of the day, but
Meanwhile, David running away from the front, guys. David, just bring it home. No lose it. No faster slap. Hunt.
Even now, up into 7th place, he's got so far to get up to.
I see we need to do more watch parties.
Well, and he, despite Khan having issues, so that just shows you how much Khan. How much.
Yeah, but Laurie, he goes deep.
Let's go a little bit further back.
But it's not really that he's doing something wrong. Like he holds his line, and all Rainy needs to do is holding his line too.
The independent entry, but I don't think he's going to be able to get that close with the DRS because he made a bit of a mistake into that final corner, which just shows you how that final corner is so crucial to these overtakes.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to stay as close as possible through there. As difficult as
Paris
it
is still in 4th. Roy is still 2nd.
Make sure you've got to look in.
Yeah, I still hope that Paris is gonna pass Arne. It would be good for David in the championship.
Trying to make up some positions in this race, most notably on Noah Roivers. And if these positions were to change hands, then the top 3 wouldn't be separated by 5 points anymore. It would be an awful lot closer than that. Because Schindler would only be 1 point behind Roivers, and Mocek would be level with Roivers. So it would be remarkable, really. Top 3 would be separated by a single point. But for the moment, it doesn't look like that's going to happen because Schindler just made that little bit of a mistake there, and it's cost him a fair bit of time, a few car lengths at least.
Yeah, it's not what we want to be doing because you'll be getting the cut tracks as well, and it's not really something that we've seen so far this race. But the cut tracks.
Paris's car is so much better than Sean Fleet's, though. It is amazing to see, like we've seen it in Formula Pro as well. Nürburgring is a completely different characteristic to Silverstone and Spa. And you see which kind of teams run which kind of philosophies. Oh, he goes for a dive! And he's to put out of it. So, obviously Burst hasn't been good at Spa. We have been, well, pace-wise, yeah, and it was doing good. Compared to Mercedes and Redline, we've still been miles off the pace, but there was potential for top 10, also if I did not screw up my qualifying. But for the Nürburgring, we kind of got the setup pretty much right, like P7, P5, just that the pure pace was there. Eventually, Yene would have been able to attack P4 even. So in that regard, we've certainly found something in the setup. What do I see? And it is interesting to see, like you see, Schonfli, he was flying in. Whoa!
That was very weird. I've never seen that before, but just broke on the exit of. Yeah, well, I would almost suggest technical failure, but he's back going again.
You saw Schonfli being really quick at Silverstone. Now, obviously, you have no idea if there's damage on the car or whatever, but one has to say that Sancho Simsport car, whether it is Khan or Schonfli, they are not looking as dominant as they looked in Silverstone here in Formula Challenge. Same with David. Well, David could have won Silverstone, but had obviously some luck with jumping spots of people crashing. But you know what I mean, like there's seeing David at front right now, besides Caresmaker's issue.
Oh, he went into reverse, so he had a
wow.
That was
how did that engine not die?
A double paddle press, because when you press double
yeah, of course, and David now capitalized on the issues by Caresmakers, but Caresmakers and Parises, they both look really strong here in the race pace. Certainly stronger than Schonfried and Roivers at the minute. Although again, I'm not sure if they got damage on the car. But you see, different philosophies being run in the setup, different speeds, different track characteristics, playing towards it or against that. That is an interesting thing here on rFactor 2 with that Formula Pro car, that's for sure. Gotta say kudos to rFactor 2 and Studio 397. We know a lot of times the cars have not been like too different, you know. Medium tyres don't work, hot tyres don't even think about it. GT3s, GTEs, the Tetria, ARB and stuff, but this particular car, it got such a slim operating window.
staying in the same order.
And
we still have most
yeah,
of the lap to go. And the
that
guys
is really nice to see.
Now, trying to hold on with Robin Panzer coming on the back of him. Rainey's been losing quite
to
a
be
bit
honest
of time over the last few laps. Can the burst driver get himself down the inside? No, he can't. Just a bit too far away. And this could be quite crucial for their championship hopes, at least finishing in their respective positions in the championship. But up towards the front, I think those top three drivers are going to be staying in the same place. It's going to have to be a very big send into the final chicane.
Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, I don't think if you're one of these three that you really want to be making that kind of move. Jim Paresis is a little bit far adrift right now in terms of this championship. He's 11 points behind Schindler. He's going to be 12 at the end of today. And you know, about 15 off the top two, so maybe he would make a move, but I don't think.
Final turns for David at the front. Amazing job.
At the front, it is David Mrocek of Burst Esports. He almost had the win in Silverstone, but
I'm watching his stream right now. I can probably feel him a big breathe out of the mouth, but awesome job. Grande. Finally redemption for Silverstone. Awesome job, David. Really strong. Robin, get in there! But I think that was contact made.
And holds on to that 8th position, so that's quite an interesting one, because Panzer did just about make it. But Rainey there going to be holding on into that 8th place, but a bit far ahead.
Either way, but David, what a job. What a job. Very important for the championship. Yeah, bonks him with the rear.
Pushed Rainey across a little bit, as Rainey was still just about there, so maybe that wasn't too bad indeed. But it seems like Rainey sort of came out on top of that one. But Ewan, that was a pretty
grande.
Once again, we saw issues for the leader that made someone else win who we didn't really expect.
Yeah, very enjoyable race once again, but as you say, a very similar situation to what we saw at Silverstone. Schindler picking up the pieces on that occasion, but Mrocek was you know.
Yeah, Lexa David streams, but only for internal use.
Yeah, Mrocek taking the win, and
well, that is an important one. So let's pretend Roivers is getting a 10-second penalty that put him probably into P6. So 5 points less, and then Arne got 1 point more. So when they show the points, we're gonna have a look.
It is about being a leader in Formula Challenge, but it doesn't tend to give you very much good luck by the looks of things.
That's literally 3 races in a row now where there's been issues for the leader, with it being Khan in the first 2 races, and now Kiersmaker's here. There must be, as you say, something a bit weird about that one. But even here, look at that. Carlos Martin, 16th place, once again having some issues.
Yeah, the front wing rip would have been a solid performance by Carlos Martin as well.
Penalty for them, but today with that spin from Spork, which is ironically caused by Martin's teammate, losing Martin the front wing as well. So yeah, all sorts of action happening up and down the field, and it's certainly been a crazy opening half of the first ever season of.
I think JT is gonna get a penalty for pushing off Spork
into the season with Indianapolis next time out. But I'd love to see specifically the standings here, because Mrocek was he was 7 points behind, so he's only going to be 2 points behind Roivers now.
That's great.
I think lost another point or another 2 points, so it's going to be very close between those top 3 drivers as we head towards the Indianapolis road course in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, there's going to be 5 points separating the top 3 going into the next race. Where, as you say, Roivers is still going to be leading. Mrocek's only going to be 2 points behind. Schindler 5 points behind. After that, things get complicated, and it's a little bit difficult for us to work out right now. We can't show you the standings because we need to wait for all the splits to filter through and whatever, which does take an age. So we're not going to wait for that, obviously. But we'll have an update on the standings.
What? I want to see standings. FFS.
But we can tell you.
So we're gonna do standings. We can not do standings because points. I don't even know how many points they get.
Getting those top 2 spaces. There's
FFS.
3 drivers in contention, but there's only 2 positions where you can actually get yourself into Formula Pro or get your team into Formula Pro for Season 2. So, yeah, high-pressure races coming up.
JT, who are you from that race?
Yes, certainly, indeed. So the action doesn't stop, because obviously we now go back to the GT racing. So on Monday we'll be going back to
Yes,
GT
Monday gonna be GT Pro, but to be honest, first of all, we're gonna have Formula Sim racing coming up on Sunday. So Sunday evening, 2025 Central European Summertime, we will have the season finale of the Formula Sim Racing World Championship. On Monday then, GT Pro, the Ferrari 488 for us around Sebring. And then we head into a new week with the Formula Pro testing and RCCO testing, as RCCO is the day after Formula Pro in 1.5 weeks time. Guys, thank you for your time. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope we will see each other next time again on well, another watch party. Not sure when they happen. It's not going to get a regular thing. It's just when there happens to be a spot that is free for us to use. And yeah, Yanni, I think he should be maybe 1 point behind the lead. So he's certainly on course. Anything is allowed to happen, but no issues for him, please. Then he's going to be 1 or 2 second in the championships, which will get him into Formula Pro. Would be nice. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your time. Happy Friday to all of you. 6 hours of sim racing are done, and we enjoy the weekend all together. See you. Goodbye.